When Curt Cignetti told the media to Google me, it wasn't arrogance, it was a statement of corporate intent. Indiana football was a distressed asset with the worst winning percentage in FBS history. The brand was insolvent, but in one fiscal year, Cignetti delivered an 11-1 season and a college football playoff berth. This wasn't a miracle, it was a corporate restructuring. We are breaking down the specific management framework derived from Nick Saban that turned this write-off into a blue-chip stock. To understand the turnaround, you have to audit the books before Cignetti arrived. Indiana was a basketball school, which is market speak for a failing football business. The administration realized that in the modern era, a bad football team is a financial liability that caps the entire university's revenue potential. So they executed a hostile takeover of their own department. The university increased direct institutional support from $5 million to $31.4 million. This wasn't a budget bump, it was a massive capital injection designed to shock the system. Football-specific spending surged by nearly $50 million, reaching $61.6 million. For the first time since 2005, Indiana exceeded the Big Ten median in spending. This capital went directly into human resources and restructuring costs. Coaching salaries jumped to $32.5 million, an increase of over $6 million. Even more telling was the $22.1 million spent on severance payments. In the corporate world, this is the cost of clearing out ineffective middle management to make way for a new regime. They paid a premium to wipe the slate clean. They fundamentally changed the risk profile of the organization. The athletic department ran a $3.1 million deficit to fund this growth, operating like a tech startup burning cash to capture market share. They were betting entirely on future revenue. The market corrected immediately. Football-specific revenue saw an explosion of $67 million. Ticket sales climbed by $1.9 million, and media rights revenue hit $50.8 million. The return on investment was instant, but capital requires a competent manager. Hiring Cignetti wasn't a gamble. It was acquiring a proven executive with a track record of immediate turnarounds. At IUP, Elon and James Madison, Cignetti proved that his system works regardless of the market size. The university didn't need a project manager for a 5-year rebuild. They needed a turnaround specialist to liquidate bad assets and install a profitable system on day one. They saw that Cignetti's model was scalable. He wasn't just coaching, he was managing a portfolio of human capital that had been severely undervalued. The hiring committee looked at his resume and saw an efficiency expert who knew how to maximize a budget, making him the perfect steward for their $60 million gamble. To secure the ROI on that massive financial layout, Cignetti installed a proprietary management operating system derived directly from the most successful CEO in college sports history. Cignetti served as the recruiting coordinator and wide receivers coach on Nick Saban's original 2007 staff at Alabama. He was there for the ground floor build of the modern dynasty. However, Cignetti didn't just copy and paste the Alabama manual. He adapted the enterprise software for a distressed market, where Saban famously obsessed over the process, a philosophy focused entirely on optimizing inputs and daily habits regardless of the scoreboard. Cignetti pivoted to a leaner, more aggressive metric: production over potential. In the corporate structure of college football, potential is a speculative asset. It is the 5-star high school recruit who physically looks the part but has never taken a snap in a collegiate game. Blue blood programs like Alabama or Georgia can afford to stockpile these speculative assets and let them mature over 2 or 3 years. Indiana, operating with a deficit of talent and time, could not afford that luxury. Cignetti's production over potential framework prioritizes proven output. He values a 3-star transfer with 2 years of solid game tape and statistical evidence over a 4-star high school prospect with only a high ceiling. In business terms, he stopped investing in seed round startups and started acquiring established small businesses with cash flow. This eliminates the development lag time usually required to turn a recruit into a starter. If a player has produced elsewhere, the risk of a zero is mitigated. This philosophy dictates the depth chart. The senior with limited physical upside, who executes the scheme correctly, will start over a talented sophomore who misses assignments. The organization rewards reliability over theoretical value. This efficiency model extends to the daily workflow. Cignetti runs a high-velocity operation designed to eliminate wasted labor hours. Practices are not marathons, they are shorter, time to the second, and engineered for maximum density. He emphasizes that he doesn't want to be on the field for 3 hours if the work can be done in 90 minutes. This is a direct efficiency strategy. By reducing the physical load while increasing the mental intensity, he preserves the human capital, the players' bodies, for Saturday, while ensuring the mental processing speed remains high. Every drill is run against a clock, forcing rapid decision-making that simulates the pressure of a fourth-quarter drive. However, the most difficult part of this restructuring was the cultural hard reset. When Cignetti arrived, he diagnosed a gloomy attitude surrounding the program, a pervasive corporate culture that expected failure. The previous administration had accepted losing as a market reality for Indiana. Cignetti implemented a no-excuses policy to eradicate this victim mentality. He utilized psychology to convince a roster of historical losers that they were actually winners who had simply been mismanaged. He achieved this by enforcing a new operational standard: fast, physical, and relentless. This isn't just a locker room slogan, it is the metric by which every meeting, lift, and drill is graded. If a player runs a route at the wrong tempo, the rep is wasted capital. By holding the existing workforce to this elite standard immediately, he revealed which employees could handle the new valuation and which assets needed to be divested. This operational philosophy didn't just change how they practiced, it dictated his aggressive, almost ruthless talent acquisition strategy in the offseason. This operational philosophy dictated a ruthless roster purge. Cignetti treated the existing team like a failing division that required immediate downsizing and replacement. He added 42 new scholarship players immediately. In the corporate world, this represents a massive staff turnover in a single quarter. He refused to rely on the draft high school recruiting to fill these critical gaps. Instead, he went to the open market. He treated the transfer portal like corporate free agency, acquiring veteran employees who required minimal onboarding time. This strategy creates a distinct efficiency advantage. High school recruits are essentially R&D projects. They require years of investment before yielding a return. Transfers are proven commodities. Cignetti capitalized on this by bringing a core group of proven staff and players with him from James Madison. These weren't just transfers, they were culture carriers. They already knew the proprietary operating system. This is the corporate equivalent of an acqui-hire. Instead of training 85 employees from scratch on the new mission statement, you import a functioning team that can model the behavior for the rest of the organization. By planting these veterans in the locker room, he bypassed the typical 3-year culture build. The JMU transfers acted as on-site middle management, enforcing the standard while the new hires caught up to speed. He also identified market inefficiencies in geography. 13 of his 21 high school signees were local, living within 4 hours of campus. This strategy optimized the acquisition budget and improved long-term retention probabilities, as local talent is statistically less likely to transfer. However, when the position required premium talent, the program wasn't afraid to deploy capital. They utilized a competitive NIL war chest to secure key assets, effectively managing a professional payroll. Reports indicate this included a valuation near $2 million for the quarterback position alone, ensuring the most critical role was filled by a high performer rather than a budget option. The acquisition of quarterback Fernando Mendoza illustrates this value investing approach. At Cal, Mendoza had a high sack rate, a red flag metric that scares off most investors. Cignetti analyzed the data and saw the production underneath the flaw, betting that his system could rehabilitate the asset. It paid off. To protect that investment, the university increased the staff salary pool to $11 million. This allowed them to retain top executives like offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan, despite aggressive outside offers. In previous years, Indiana was a stepping stone. Under this model, it became a destination job, securing the intellectual property of the coaching staff. They realized that in a talent-based business, retaining your best managers is significantly cheaper than recruiting new ones. Cignetti proved that basketball school is just a lazy label for an undermanaged football asset. He proved the concept that a distressed brand can become a market leader if the management structure changes. The market has validated his strategy with an 8-year, $72 million contract extension. This model of prioritizing immediate production over long-term potential is no longer a niche strategy. It is the new standard for any non-blue blood program attempting to compete in the NIL era. If you want more breakdowns on the high-stakes business of college sports, subscribe to Revenue Racers.